Morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you're from. Today, appreciate you all joining us for what hopes to be a great conversation today with Annabelle on just her career in data analytics and data enablement. So welcome to our second traditional user group setting for career pathmakers. Again, we hope to have these traditional user group settings once every quarter. Where we're bringing special speakers in here to talk about different aspects of data analytics that are important to show you guys that there are different, data analytics is one career path, but there's different branches within data analytics that you can go. And we just want to give you all that information for those of you who are trying to transition into the space or just want more information about different career paths you go. That's what these sessions are for. So that's why we do these. So happy to have everybody attend and welcome Annabelle for joining.
Thank you for inviting me, Scott.
No problem here. So sorry here. This is going to be a very open, what I call a fireside chat with some questions we'll throw out there where we can talk about some various stuff related to your transition to data analytics, and like I said, just your specific area, which is data enablement. I know you have a huge passion around that space. You do some blogs and do some various kind of things external to the community in relation to that. So definitely hope to get into some of that as we talk here. So for those of you that don't know Annabelle, she's a Tableau Visionary and Ambassador with over 20 years of experience in the financial sector. Data analytics is my Ikigae. I do not know what that acronym means.
Ikigai. It's a Japanese term, meaning that is your purpose in life. When your passion and purpose and everything is joined together.
Okay.
We can have a look. It's a beautiful concept.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I believe same thing with me. I believe what I'm doing as well in my just everyday role and doing this for the external community. That's my passion. That's what I've been meant to do as well. So I think we're kind of kindred spirits in that aspect. She loves visiting about animals, and then she hosts the number one, what I would call the number one Tableau user group, the analytics user group. I've attended quite a few times. It gets a great attendance once a month. Has a huge range of topics that are covered. Always been great. She co-hosts that with two other people as well as Data Plus Women and enablement webinars. So again, thank you, Annabelle, for joining us. And I guess we'll go ahead and dive into some of the questions here.
Mm-hmm.
So first question I have for you is, and we'll dive into some of the more data enablement stuff here in a little bit, but I just want to kick off with some general stuff. So what motivated you to transition into the data and analytics field?
So I will say that it was not so much a transition. I have a master's degree in mathematics and financial markets. So I studied statistics and everything there. Then when I finished my study, it was a financial crisis, so I couldn't find a job in risk management. And I started working in banks, like at the counter, literally. Yeah? I was a relationship manager. And then I decided to try to pass a national exam to enter the French Central Bank. I got the exam. I entered the French Central Bank. If they take only 20 people per year at this level. And there I had the chance, but that was not planned, to work for the statistical department. So I start already working on the analytic sector there, because I was doing reporting, not financial reporting, but really reporting and publication, statistic reputation for the French Central Bank. And then when I moved to Switzerland, so I was using a tool called SAS, and SAS Enterprise Guide. I don't know if certain people know it. So it was already very fun. We were connecting to the data warehouse, doing all the data pipeline, data transformation there. And then we download the data into Excel and we build all the VZs, if you will call that, the graph into Excel. And yeah, I didn't plan it. Otherwise, usually I have a slide of what I used to do. That is very interesting. In publication, you have different rules than on data visualization. But yes, that was the path. When I moved in Switzerland, I couldn't find a job for 2 years until I found like a data analyst junior position where they were giving me the opportunity to learn a tool called Tableau. And that's where I enter the Tableau space by moving to Switzerland and finding this position.
Okay. Can you talk more about the current role you have and what you do in that role?
My current role, I'm not working, Scott. I quit my job 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and since then I couldn't find a new one.
Okay.
So I'm available for hire, like we said.
Okay.
But yes, like I can tell you a little bit more. So when I joined Switzerland, and I had, to be honest, to restart from scratch, because in France, while working at the French Central Bank, I was leading a team of data analysts. And when I moved to Switzerland, like I said, like for 2 years, I couldn't find a job. And the first job I found was a junior position. So I start at the bottom again. I had this position of this junior analyst position for 2 years, but that gave me the opportunity to learn Tableau. And then I can also tell you how I learned Tableau. And then after these 2 years, I was capable of finding a position at Credit Suisse where I was hired like a Tableau data visualization expert. And I end up running a team of 15 people. So I was running a team of 15 developers. We were doing all the dashboarding and the analysis for the compliance and risk department. And then I moved to Fontobel, where I was leading the Tableau Center of Enablement, including taking care of Tableau server, training the people, enabling people at the usage of Tableau there, and also like doing some dashboard for certain departments, like marketing, procurement, finance, wealth management, and so on.
Okay. What skills do you find most essential to a data and analytics role?
I would say like to be curious. That's what always triggers me to try to find the why behind a problem, a data revelation. Right? Really like be curious, trying to dig into the data to try to understand what is happening.
Okay. Yeah, definitely agree with the curiosity piece. In addition to that, just from a technical perspective, I don't know how many we have joined that are kind of early career professionals, and so on. But what I like to tell the early career professionals is be as tool agnostic as possible.
Yes.
I know we're all love Tableau and love to do things in Tableau, and that's awesome. You can definitely have a tool preference, but in today's world, being as tool agnostic as possible, at least what I've found, is going to open the most doors for everybody, whether it's Tableau related, Alteryx, whatever, a lot of the other tools that are out there. Just learn about them, know what you can do with them, maybe do some personal projects with them per se to kind of get some hands-on experience. But definitely that will open the most doors for you. And I will say definitely knowing, and we'll dive into a little bit this later, but definitely have an understanding of data enablement, data engineering. Um, and we talked a little about that with Chris Williams at our uh, last meeting about just the importance of data engineering and everything that we do. I consider that a crucial piece and a crucial skill to have, because you can't put a dashboard on top of data if you don't have the data structured the right way. To be able
Yes.
to take that curiosity, Annabelle, that you were talking about, and be able to dive deeper into the data, slice and dice it the way you want, answer those questions. So I would
Yes.
say for me personally, yeah, curiosity number one on the list, but definitely make sure you've got some of the technical aspects covered as well from just multiple tools. Don't be, I wouldn't say don't over, for anybody on the call, don't overextend your tool set. If you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. So I would say keep it to about two or three to start out with, at what you feel are the most common ones. And for anybody who's looking for jobs in the job postings that you've seen, maybe start focusing on those, and then kind of expand out as needed.
And pass the certification too. When some tools have free certification, so you can pass the certification and at least demonstrate that you have the skill, because sometimes you cannot use. And for instance, let's say that you use Tableau at work, but you would like to extend your skill in AWS QuickSight or DataIQ or whatever tool. It's a good thing to demonstrate your capability to pass the certification, because you don't have the experience at work.
Yeah, I definitely would second that from the certification perspective. Um, and like you said, Annabelle, yeah, depending on the tool, some certifications are free. I know Tableau certification is not, but if that's something that for those on the call who wanted to pursue, at least I found where I work that is covered under like tuition reimbursement from that perspective. So that's a route that people can investigate to get that. For me personally, certification, yeah, it's definitely good and kind of showcases that you understand the content and the tools you're using. It was never a requirement, at least for me, for any job that I wanted, but for me, it was kind of a good. It's a full goal that I set for myself. It was kind of like, yeah, it's not needed, but I'd like to say that, yeah, I did it, and kind of further validation around the fact that I've been using the tool, I know the tool, I know how to do things in the tool, and so on. So, and it does look good on a resume as well. I speaking from a hiring manager perspective, when I have open roles and I look at resumes and I see that people have certifications, I might take a little longer to look at the resume just to see, okay, you got the certification. What are the projects you've been involved in during that time frame, or after that you got the certification, to where you can kind of showcase that skill set. So definitely it's one of those, like I say, can only hurt. It can only help you. It won't hurt you to have it, even if it's just something additional you want to get it. It's not required. Um, all right. Next question here. How do you stay updated with the latest trends and advancements in data and analytics?
Mm. That that's where my curiosity, helps also. I always try to learn new things, usually. So the past months, I have learned. The past months, 24 months, I have learned that IQ. I learned AWS QuickSight, Power BI, because I have a lot of time. So I have learned also Tableau Next. I have passed the certification for Agentforce, with where you use how you use to create with the Salesforce infrastructure an agent, and play a little bit with the flow that you have there. I always try to learn new things. I would say, like, by staying curious, reading books, reading blog, what is required nowadays to do a job in data analytics. So I try to.
Yeah. I do the same thing, and I know depending on what kind of path you're in the data analytics field, the definitely the tools you're going to use are different. So definitely staying up to date with enhancements of the tools, whether it's Tableau, whether it's Tableau Prep, whether it's Alteryx or whatever tool. Just being familiar with what the latest updates are and how those can impact the work that you do every day. Those are definitely key. Um, I would say staying up to date with any innovations in AI are key as well.
Mm-hmm.
AI is very prevalent, and we could have a whole session on just the importance of AI. And I know there's others out there who have been talking about it quite frequently. But just in relation to AI from a Tableau perspective, I personally try to stay up to date with okay, what's going on with agent analytics, agent force, even the updates to Tableau Cloud, Tableau Pulse, things like that, because all those have huge impacts to when we're creating dashboards, how we want to create them for the users to kind of do self-service analytics for them. So I do my best to try to stay up to date on that, as well as some of the trends out there. I'm personally huge into best practices and standards, so I try to stay up to date on any new research studies that are being done, any newer versions of books that I maybe have read in the past that have newer revisions to them that would cover those. So I would say for everybody on the call as well, definitely be on the lookout for those type of things. Those can just help you do your job better and just make sure that you're staying up to date and then you can adapt because AI especially is transitioning at a fast rate. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done in it, but there's always new innovations um, coming down the pike. So I would say probably the number one on the list is just stay up to date with what can be done and how AI is being implemented in Tableau and Tableau Prep and things like that. All right, I think we can dive into a little bit of your area of expertise, which is the data enablement piece. So the first question I have for you is, what does data enablement mean to you and why is it critical for organizations today?
For me, it's critical because it's often the missing piece. That's what I have noticed in several companies. They invest a lot of money in a good infrastructure, a beautiful data warehouse, a new tool, and then they expect people just to catch on. There is no introduction session or very few, and often there is no learning, there is no support, and it's where the enablement is so important. When you have invested so much money into like modernizing the stack or implementing like a new BI tool or whatever, you want your user to use it, which is also part of this return on investments. So for me, it's very important to have a small team where you can like give training, provide support, helping people grow and challenge them to do better. And for instance, when I on my last job, during the time I was there, I multiplied by 3 the number of users, which was also like improving like the return on investment a lot.
Awesome. Um, all right. How can data enablement drive business innovation and competitive advantage?
It's implemented. Yeah, it's for me. It's if people are understanding the tool that they have at hand, like really know it well, be able to use it the best of capacity. With good performance too, you know. Of course, it's like save time and money for the company, and also like provide like you have people train with good tool, fast tool, So of course they will do analysis and be able to find out insight that otherwise they will not have been able to find. If you load the dashboard and it takes 1 minute to load, there is not so much competitive advantage because you will be tired of using it before ever starting. So it's all. It's like a good infrastructure, people train, and then you can really have good insights.
And just, for me, just to kind of add on to that, I definitely think, like you said, knowing the tools that you're using and knowing them well is the key. Um, Especially when you get some high priority projects that come down. Knowing the tools well can allow you to get those insights out to your business quicker because you know the ins and outs of the tool. You can design, develop more efficiently, and that then allows them to find their insights quicker. And if there's any action items that comes from those insights where they maybe need to adjust processes or things like that, that's where the competitive advantage comes in. Because they're able to modify their processes to do things more efficiently, to maybe get things quicker to market or reduce costs, things like that. So definitely echo the sentiment of knowing the tools you're using well to be able to provide those insights. And I would say also knowing the underlying data as well. So having a good knowledge of the data that you're working with, because you may be, as you're getting those insights out quicker to people, you may find some insights or some things that they didn't initially think about that you're maybe just seeing that's coming through the data. So you can provide that information to them to allow them to have a light bulb moment to be able to make some additional changes that they hadn't thought of before. So yeah, definitely knowing the data from that standpoint is key as well.
And working with the business. If you work end
Yes.
to end with the business, so depending if you're the business or the IT, but yes, absolutely.
Yes. Um, what are the biggest challenges organizations face when trying to enable data across teams and departments?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I would say that often there is issues when when you try to enable data or tool or whatever, and you don't have the mission. You don't have the mission statement to do that. It's just like a side job for you to do that. And then it's very difficult for you to have the legitimacy to go to different teams and say, hey guys, whatever tool, let's use the best practice. They will not listen to you. And sometimes there is kind of a competition between team. A team is doing things a certain way, good or bad, and another team is doing it in another way. And if you have the mission statement, you have that is on your job title to do that, you can achieve better results. And it's often what I have noticed is one of the main challenge in other organizations that I will not name. We had this where we had two competing teams wanted to be the enablement team, and things didn't go so well because none of them really had the mission.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that from the mission statement. Another thing I've noticed as I've worked with myself various teams across my career as well is, and this is especially when you have teams that use the same metric but have different
Oh, yeah.
definitions for the metric. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so that is key because they want to look at it their definition fits what they're looking at to kind of put them, I guess, in the green. Another team has another definition that puts them in the green. But when you're trying to consolidate a metric that's consumable by all, and you have that happen, that can cause problems. So for me, it's what I found has worked best is as the one kind of the business liaison, but I guess between the two is sometimes it just takes getting them into a room,
Mm-hmm.
having those discussions so that way they each understand the reason that they're doing things. And then maybe there's somewhere that can be, there's some middle ground that can be met to where maybe it's not fully one team's definition or the other, but maybe there's something that can meet in the middle that can accommodate both of those. But if you don't get them in a room together to start talking through some of that, that's where issues arise, and especially when you're trying to consolidate things in a specific area, um, a business area.
Sorry.
So I found that is a barrier as well, and I've also found just organizational controls that are in place. So sometimes you have to work through some of those controls, especially when you have different lines of businesses in the same organization. Sometimes one organization doesn't allow their data to be seen outside of another organization,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or out doesn't allow they don't allow it to be seen in another organization that maybe is in the same overall company but a different line of business. So those are some of the challenges I have had to work through in my career to kind of remediate some of those. It can be done, but I would say that that's another key part of data analytics, and this may be something we get into in another session later on. But having a good knowledge of how the controls work in your organization, and maybe just getting familiar with security setup on the data in the database, security setup from a dashboard perspective, things like that. So having knowledge of all that as well um, will help facilitate kind of easier enablement across the various organizations that need to need to see the data.
And I have a good example on that
Go ahead.
that made me think. Um, when I was working for an e-commerce company, we had every month discussion because the sales team disagree with the finance team about the commission calculation. So each of them have a different KPI on that, and it was like endless discussion every month. I still remember.
Yes. Yeah, I had an example of something like that early on. I don't remember the specific example because it was probably 15 years ago, but it's a learning I got very quickly in my career to for it's it was some good stakeholder management learning that I got early on in my career to where you may not be able to make everybody 100% happy, and
Mhm,
the same, I guess the same thinking goes with when you're doing like dashboard standards and things like that.
mhm,
You're never going to build a dashboard 100% to best practices.
mhm,
I've just found it's just not possible. So what you have to do is you have to find some middle ground to where you're accommodating most of your user bases, and I think that just goes from dashboard design
mhm,
to data enablement and just sharing the data. You want to make sure everybody's in a good state and happy to where that they're comfortable with sharing that data with, because they have their stakeholders that they have to provide insights to and just share their findings with too. So you have to make sure that they're comfortable with sharing that data as well to the people that they have to respond to. How do you measure? I guess in your opinion, how do you measure the success of data enablement efforts within an organization?
So there is always like a lot of metrics, I would say. So of course you can say, okay, I have trained X number of people this year. X number of people come from the beginner to the intermediate stage, this kind of metrics on learner. One that definitely like showcased a lot to my COO was always like the utilization of the server. So we had a server like in the 4 years that was used like by 500 people when I arrived to 1,500 when I left, multiplied by 3. And the company side was less than 2,000. So 1,500 for like 2,000 employee, that was not bad. And the utilization, like I said, server was good. I also have on my side also like the performance of the server because I was also in charge of that. But this metric, the utilization, was always a good metric because it goes with the return on investments. Yes, we spend this amount of money, but thanks to a better utilization, a better performance, and also good use case where I could have demonstrated that thanks to this dashboard, this project, we have saved X amount of time and money. That was also very, very beneficial. For instance, I had a use case like years ago. I work with the procurement department, and so we did everything for the data pipeline to like the final dashboard. And thanks to this dashboard, we could demonstrate the number of time saved, because it was a manual process before, to so this time saved, but also the money saved, because thanks to this new dashboard, they gather new insight that were allowing them to make saving across the full company. So that's having like this kind of business success story. It's also very useful.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I've also seen it firsthand. It's definitely the way to measure success is the based on the project you work on and the KPIs that they're looking to, um, whether it's an increase in a KPI or a decrease in a KPI. And a specific example I have is a couple teams ago, we were doing an analysis. We needed there was a initiative to increase a specific score uh, in our area, and we did some ad hoc analysis, breaking down things by different kind of subsections, regions, um, geographic regions, different kind of binnings of. So this is when I worked in wealth management, so we were breaking down by regions, wealth amounts, things like that, and we presented that analysis that we did to leadership, and that led them to incorporating a pilot program in relation to that analysis. And the result of incorporating that pilot program led to an increase in that score of 7 points by the end of the year. And that was huge for a 7 point increase was huge in that space, considering how far off we were from our target score at that point. Um, but just seeing the effects like that, kind of get. Now I wasn't the one that did the analysis at the time. It was the person I was managing. She did the analysis, but we kind of collaborated back and forth with what she could do in Tableau and things like that. But just being able to provide that kind of analysis to show and then be able to see the impact that it had, um, at least for me personally and for her as well, that was fulfilling for us to be able to show that had the impact and the impact data enablement has, when you have the right controls in place, you're getting that data to the right people, and it's causing change like that. So that is huge to me, at least for the enablement space, when you can see something like that. How do you see the future of data enablement evolving over the next 5 years?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. It's often something I ask myself: would AI will be useful? Most probably, yes. I suppose that some tool will integrate AI to learn the tool instead of maybe you just type in, build me a dashboard doing that. Maybe some tool will integrate, hey, show me how to do that so I can do it myself. That would be cool. I always wonder if but I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure that AI will like replace enablement person, because the way we learn, we also learn by doing things together. And I'm a little worried. Some people like I just have to type in and the dashboard, for instance, it's built for me. And I say, yes, but it's still good to know how to do that, because maybe you can challenge and study, and still what he proposed, it's maybe not the best visualization, because if it's still a visualization that you need to do, your eyes will react a different way than the machine. So you still need to learn the best practice. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how the space goes, but I'm not convinced that, I'm still convinced that we need a human to help other human to learn.
No, I definitely agree with that. And I highly recommend for those who are interested. Don Harrington, Chris Williams, and Noel Butler did a. They just recently did a AI talk, like AI in the Tableau space. I highly recommend. You guys should be available out there on YouTube. Definitely look that up and listen to that. It was a great conversation. And one of the key takeaways I had from that was, and Chris mentioned this very well, is that AI is not going to replace humans. It's just going to make us a little more efficient in what we do. And I second that sentiment as well. And I've always thought, um, and just from my perspective, AI is only as smart as the humans that program it. So there's still going to be an amount of error there, and it's AI is always learning just from the stuff that we're putting in there as humans. So there is going to be a percentage of error in there. I definitely think from that aspect, it is a huge shape, whether it's from a data enablement standpoint, from a dashboard development standpoint, things like that. You definitely want to use that to, especially for those of you who are maybe new to the space and want to learn how to do some of these things. Definitely, you can use AI to say, okay, what are dashboard best practices? What are the best charts to use to put a dat to for this type of analysis? Things like that. Um, but there's still going to need to be a human element for fact checking and just things like that. So yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. AI will can help us, but it won't replace the humans. There's still going to need it to be a human aspect of it for the foreseeable future.
But there is also an aspect, Scott, it's maybe I don't want to be efficient. Maybe sometime I want to do things for fun. For instance, the visualization I do for fun, like this advent calendar or whatever.
Yep.
It's fun for me to try to scratch my head and say, hey, what is the formula that trigonometry formula, so I can draw leaves in Tableau, and then put them on a certain form and create like a Christmas wreath or whatever, and just have fun by myself and scratching my head, like I said. And sometimes with tools that I see going there, we don't have the possibility anymore to be creative. You have to write like a prompt, for instance, or you have just the possibility to have like, I don't want to say any name of the tool, but that is not as flexible as a Tableau desktop, original Tableau desktop, where you can really draw everything. So that's why I said, like, I hope that we still have tools that allowed us in the future to be creative and don't be as efficient from time to time when we want to have fun.
Oh no, I definitely agree. Yeah, because there's those of us who like to do Tableau for work. I am one of those because I definitely have some hobbies outside of work too. I have dabbled in Tableau myself outside of work for some passion projects. Um, but yeah, for those who like to do Tableau outside of work, like yourself and others who just want to play around with the tool, build some fun things. Yeah, you're not you don't want to have to worry about efficiency and things like that. You want to be able to you get and I know I'm like this as well. I get tremendous satisfaction out of being able to figure out something,
Yes.
how to build this, how to do that. It definitely helps your problem solving as well, because you may face a similar situation or a similar circumstance in maybe a work setting where you're trying to do a very similar thing. But yeah, that's part of the fun of doing those passion projects is being able to figure out, like you said, how to draw a leaf in Tableau. Um, for me, when I did some of the projects I did last year, the fun for me was um, figuring out color schemes and things like
Mhm.
that, and figuring out like design and how to get things to work the way that I wanted to do. So and that's all the fun of doing personal passion projects. So and yeah, using AI and things like that to take some of that out of there. So yeah, I definitely agree with that aspect. AI is going to be more crucial from the work perspective when you want to get things out in a timely fashion because every company today, and I've told many people this, there's truly no entry level positions anymore. What they were back in my day, to where companies were willing to take somebody 6 months out of school, invest the time and effort in growing their skills and do things like that. Most companies today have a minimum 2 year backlog of work. And they want to bring somebody in that who can hit the ground running. So if there's anything that somebody can do to kind of showcase that, even though they may not have the work experience, but they can showcase it through Tableau public profile or something like that, that they have the equivalent of somebody who's had hands-on experience in the workforce for 2 years. That's key. So that's also where some of the passion projects come in, because you can do some of your passion projects, build your portfolio, showcase some of the more maybe advanced stuff that Tableau has come out with that you used in your project. So that can then also tie back for those of you who are looking to transition into the field or just to kind of upskill yourself in your current role. That's where kind of the tie-in from the passion project perspective is as well.
That was one of the questions of Vinny. Is it useful to create a portfolio of data project? Yes, like you said, it is. But as a hiring manager, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
I always check if someone has a Tableau public profile.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't, I still give them the chance. So if
Yes.
I say that they have like a facility, and usually, um, so I am against, when I am a hiring manager, I am against giving like a real um, project to people and make them work for 30 hours on something, like I have experienced that often, and it looks like more like a free consulting job than a hiring experience. So
Mm-hmm.
usually what I did with these people, I say, okay, you don't have a Tableau public profile. If you already have a Tableau public profile, please explain me one of your V's, and I will ask you question on the V's. Otherwise, create one. You create a Tableau public profile. You had fun with a visualization, with a project that you would like. Go download a database of a subject that you would like, and in 2 weeks, come back and present that to me. Usually I give this kind of time frame. So at least these people will work on something that is a passion for them, is interesting for them, and then they, that's also great. Like they start creating their own Tableau public profile. So that's the way, as a hiring manager, I found quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't want to give somebody a project to spend like 30 hours working on to come back to me on, because I know everybody has their, yeah, they may be looking for a new role, but they also have their current role that they still have to make sure that
Exactly.
they're doing what they need to in that aspect. So yeah, I definitely also look forward to see if somebody has a Tableau public profile and portfolio, and I will browse through it. There was one instance a while ago. I was not the hiring manager, but I was doing the technical interview. And based on my feedback, we hired this person because of his Tableau public profile, because we were able to see his progression of where he started to where he ended up. So it not only showed his that he had the equivalent on job experience, but it also showed his growth mindset
Hmm.
and how he was able to manage that stuff. And so that was crucial. But even if they don't have a Tableau portfolio, I will, based on what I see in their resume, I will ask them questions about some of the projects that they were on,
Exactly.
to kind of talk through their process there. So I've always found personally it's a lot better to do it from that standpoint, because then you can gauge, okay, how's your analytical thinking skills, how's your critical thinking skills, problem solving, by them just talking through a project that might be fresh in their head. things like that. So yeah, I definitely don't want to add more work onto somebody. That's just my own preference. I know some people have others, but that's just my own preference right there. Okay, we're going to wrap up the fireside chat portion of this with two final questions here. So I will pose both of them and just let you answer, and then we should have some time at the left for some questions. So final two questions are: what advice would you give to someone considering a career in and doing a transition into data and analytics? And are there any common misconceptions about the field that you would like to address?
Misconception? I don't know. It's hard. It's not easy. Yeah, there is sometimes a lot of politics involved. It's not only, I would say that you are not alone in front of your screen, that for sure. It's a job where you have to speak with a lot of people, you have to understand the business, you have to speak with stakeholders, manage the stakeholders. I'm reading like a book now on whispering to stakeholder. I think it's very good for. I haven't finished, so I cannot tell you if it, but I think it's like a part of the job. And if what you search is only be in front of the computer, you are missing something, or you will not be as successful as someone that gets curious, get to know other people, and really understand what are their needs. Not only ask them what are your needs, but really deep dive into it. You really have to understand that. And as advice, I would say hey, for myself, I was capable, like I said, to find a new job in Switzerland thanks to Tableau. So yes, you can create your portfolio of data project, apply to some job. That would be a good start, I would say.
Yeah. No, definitely agree with that as well. And some piece of advice I would give to others as well is twofold. Sadly, I did not learn these till halfway through my career, but hopefully by giving these, you guys can start thinking about these. One is don't be afraid to say no to a user or a stakeholder. But if you do have to say no, give them an alternative or give them an explanation as to why it cannot be done. There were many times early on in my career where I wanted to impress and I wanted to showcase that yes, I can do everything without really thinking through some things. And by saying yes and then coming back and saying that it wasn't able to be done, that not only negatively impacts your reputation, but also your team's reputation that you're on. So definitely don't be afraid to say no, but but before you do that, investigate alternatives or be able to don't just say no. You can say no, it just technically can't be done, but you might want to kind of take that another step and just put it at a higher level for the stakeholders to just understand why it technically can't be done. And then the second piece of advice I would give is don't get emotionally attached to the work that you do. You can definitely take pride in what you do, but don't get emotionally attached to it. And I can give a quick example of that. There was a project I had worked on for 6 months, and I knew it was going to be a stopgap measure until an application was put in place that would do a lot of what I was doing the dashboard for. So worked on it for 6 months, put it out there, it was in production, and I noticed that it hadn't been looked at. So I reached out to the business and they came back and told me, yeah, well, we just decided we weren't going to use it and we're just going to go ahead and wait for the new application. At that point, I fell into immediate state of shock. I was speechless, totally ruined the rest of my day, and negatively impacted my interactions with not only my colleagues at work, but also after work. I just carried work home with me. And my wife gave me the best piece of advice that I have ever gotten in my professional career. She basically told me choose how you feel because you were still tasked to do the job, so you were still paid to do that work.
Mm-hmm.
And if they decided at the end of the day that they didn't want to use it, then that is on them and not you, because you were still paid to do it. So that's money that they lost, paying the salary and putting it into the project for the work that you need to do. So that really helped me set perspective on projects and work that I did going forward. To where, yes, I still take immense pride in the stuff that I do, but I don't get so much to the point now to where if something gets decommissioned,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody wants to see the work they did go by the wayside. I think it's just kind of a natural reaction, but it is a reality in our space that sometimes dashboards are not permanent. There will, after a certain amount of time, there will be teams that decommission it because they maybe don't need it anymore, or there's just other reasons that could go behind that. But yeah, if you can just keep that detachment from it, that will definitely suit you better in the long run. So,
Absolutely.
all right, was there anything else you wanted to add, Annabelle, before we
Oh,
kind of dive
I
into
can
some of
always speak for hours, For me, yes, I agree with what you said about the commission. Sometimes it happens, you feel quite bad because you put a lot of energy and you know that, for instance, this dashboard is perfect for the team and still they don't want to use it, or that's sad. One dashboard that I did, I was very proud because after 5 years, it was still used, despite the fact that the team completely changed several times. So they still, the dashboard, that was not because I did it, it was because we did it together with the business, and we did it so well that whatever person come after that was doing the same job still use it. So, but sometimes, yes, you have to just put your pride aside and say, okay, that's fine. Like you said, I've been paid. Let's go on.
it? Yeah, and that has definitely served me well the second half of my career, and I continue to kind of follow that to this day because I've had quite a few instances even after the fact where that's happened, and just the change in me that from following that advice is it has helped immensely to where I can it doesn't carry home. I don't carry it outside of work with me, and it's just helped me. It's just allowed me to put things in better perspective, to just realize that that is a constant in our space. You're not going to create stuff that's going to be used all the time. If you do, that's awesome. If it's if it's used in perpetuity, that is great. But for the most part, things you create are not used in perpetuity, and especially if you're changing teams constantly, once you leave the team, it could be gone and you may know nothing about it. So it's just you just got to kind of keep that perspective, and that has definitely helped me through my second episode. I hope it will help others as well. All right. All right, we've got I know we're up at the time here, but I do want to make sure that I ask some of the questions that some of our audience had posed here. So, one question I have here is, Annabelle, through your journey in data and enablement, what skills have you acquired that has helped you as a people manager with your last team, and more specifically, new visualization developers?
I would say that empathy. Empathy is a good skill for like a manager. You have to put yourself in the shoes of other people, um, guide junior, also new visualization developer, like make them understand the politic, protect them from time to time too, and guide them. But yes, being empathic always helped me, like through the stakeholder management or whispering or whatever you want to call it, and also like to deal with people in general and be, I hope, a good manager.
Yeah, I definitely second that. Having been a manager myself now for the last probably 4 out of the last 5 years, empathy, I would concur, is the biggest piece of that. Because you see your people going through the same things you went when you were at their levels.
Mhm.
So standing that and recognizing that, you can definitely give them some of the same advice that I give to others in this call and other scenarios. So having that empathy allows you definitely to put yourself in their shoes because you've gone through those situations before. And it will also, from a problem solving standpoint, help you better guide them towards the problem resolution. One thing I take to heart is I don't, depending on the level that they're at, especially if they're very junior, sometimes you may have to handhold them, but you don't want to just give them what the solution is right
Yes.
away. But you can use your empathy and people management skills to direct them the path to follow to where they can kind of get to that resolution on their own, because that that will help them grow their skills to where they can do that down the future for others as well.
Absolutely.
All right, next question here is, can having lots of certifications be a red flag?
Certainly, but better a lot of certification than none. Maybe it's a red flag for a recruiter that try when I have sent my CV. That's also a possibility.
Now, I personally have not had a lot of certifications in my career. I don't know, at least me personally, where it would be a red flag. The only caution I would put behind there is just if you do have those certifications, make sure that you're up to date on them, and you can, if you're asked to showcase your skills with those certifications, you can do that. Just because I know some people test well, but when it comes to practical experience and practical use, they're not able to showcase that very well. So I would just say, just to me, I still stand by it that certifications can only help you; they can't hurt you. But for the certifications that you do have, just make sure that you can back them up if somebody poses a problem to you that you need to solve using those skills.
Absolutely.
What advice can you give to those that have career gaps and are also pivoting into data analytics?
That I mean, on the pivoting into data analytics, we already like tackled that. Career gaps. I had career gap in my career several times. Um, I will say that it's always a good opportunity to learn new things and maybe like to change direction and perspective. It's always a good opportunity, even though sometimes it's a little challenging and frustrating.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to the career gaps, I understand career gaps happen. My wife had her own career gap where she wasn't in the workforce for a good 15 years just because she had to stay home and take care of our daughter. So
Mhm.
um, I would say if you do have a career gap and they ask, and because some people will ask you about it during an interview, just be open and honest about it.
Absolutely.
Um, but also, if it's so that's for the big career gaps. But if you have a small one, like maybe 1, 2 years, something like that, um, I would say just in that time frame, do everything that you can to kind of upskill yourself if you know the direction that you want to go, and especially if maybe you're in data and analytics and you had to take a pause for whatever reason. Just make sure you're staying up to date on the advancements that are going on. Maybe work on keeping your portfolio updated with
Mhm.
some of the passion projects we talked about earlier, so that way you can still showcase your skill sets and your abilities by work that you did during that skill gap or during that career gap. Sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
that's where like certification can come handy. Also, so you can demonstrate, hey, maybe I never used Tableau, I don't know, at work, but look, I was capable of having this certification. Hey, I have a portfolio in Tableau Public, where you can demonstrate. So having something to showcase, even if you didn't use it at work or since a longer time.
okay. All right. I'm scanning through. I don't see any other questions. So thank you, Annabelle, for taking the time today to chat with us. This has been very insightful for me, and I hope it has been for everybody else. So definitely look forward to to the continued work that you do. I know you're very passionate about what you do. I can definitely see that. And definitely stay tuned for future sessions that we'll have. I'm not sure yet. Our next session we will have will be first part of 2026. We're still finalizing plans for that. And soon as we have that information, we will send that out to everybody. But thank you all very much for your time and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.